Spider-Man Miles Morales released about a week ago, and within that time, I've spent a lot of time playing the game to the point where I'm nearly 100% completed with my first save file. The game is obviously a lot shorter compared to the first, which isn't a bad thing considering it's been 2 years since its release, and I've had a lot of fun playing Miles Morales so far. And of course, one thing that really makes these games fun is the variety of costumes, which Miles Morales doesn't have a lot compared to Spider-Man PS4, but there are still some great costumes to choose from. In this video, I'll be sharing 5 of my favorite Miles Morales costumes, the ones I consider to be the best in the game, and keep in mind this is also recorded a week after the game's release, so maybe this list will change assuming more costumes get added at a later date, meaning maybe I'll make an update video. With that, let's begin with what I think are the best 5 suits in Spider-Man Miles Morales, 5 through 1, with 1 being the suit I find myself using the most, and of course 1 honorable mention. Honorable mention, the Sportswear Suit. So the thing I really like about this costume is that it's currently the closest thing we have to the hoodie suit from Spiderverse. In fact, I think Insomniac is going to release that costume at a later date similar to the Raimi suit since everybody wanted the hoodie suit from Spiderverse. But even though I like this costume and find myself using it often during the overcast setting in the game, I don't use it as much as I like to, and mainly because it's not really doing it for me the same way the hoodie suit from Spiderverse would. I do like it and think it's a decent substitute until the Spiderverse costume comes into the game, but I wish I was able to like it more than the remaining costumes on this list. In my opinion, the best time to wear this costume is during the overcast or even some of the heavier snow parts of the game. Number 5. The Winter Suit. The thing I really like about this costume is that it fits the game like the Sportswear Suit, and the cool thing about this costume is that it's of course an in-game default suit with the winter accessories that the player unlocks after completing one of the side missions, so it has meaning and makes sense given the season. I do find myself using this costume more than the basic classic suit, but I rank it lower than the rest of the suits on this list due to the fact that it's not much different from the default suit, it just has the winter accessories and makes it different enough for me to use this over the classic suit. It is nice that there's a costume like this in game, and I've even asked for something like this in previous videos talking about a Spider-Man game taking place during the winter. Something like this has been worn in the comics by Peter Parker, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2 also had something like this in the film. Like the Sportswear Suit, this is appropriate to wear given the season, and it's one of my favorites to use. Number 4. The Bodega Cat Suit. For those who have been around for a while, you know I really like homemade costumes since it adds to the relatability of Spider-Man, and I really like this costume since it primarily features the hoodie and backpack, reminding me a lot of the Scarlet Spider and homemade suit from Homecoming, one of my personal favorites. Like the 2 other suits mentioned in this list, this is once again an appropriate suit to wear for the season, but if all suits featured with normal clothing in the game, I feel like I like this one the best. The hoodie contrasts well with the rest of the costume, and of course it features the Spider-Man cat, something I don't really care about, but I know others really like that feature. Although one thing I wish I could change about this costume is having the backpack as an option. Don't get me wrong, I think it fits the type of character Miles is since he's younger, but I would like to use this costume without the backpack or even with the hoodie up. Number 3. The Programmable Matter Suit. So this costume isn't really a traditional costume similar to costumes like the 2020 suit in the game, but I really like this design. It has the elements of a standard Spider-Man suit while also having a different twist, and I'm especially a fan of how the suit looks like it's lit up during some parts, and how the webbing doesn't really seem like webbing on the costume. I'm also a big fan of the spider logo, so while the suit isn't really the traditional Spider-Man costume, I think it's one of the better different suits out there, better than the Arachnid Rider costume for sure. Including this costume in the list was tough at first, but I think with the amount of detail it has, and that it's a new design makes it enough for a high ranking, and it's one of the best suits in the game. Number 2. The Uptown Pride Suit. So this might actually be a surprise considering it's not much different from the classic costume, but I actually prefer this over the classic design given the color combo. I think the yellow pops really well on the black suit, and it reminds me a lot of the Anti-Ox suit from the previous game, so it seems like Insomniac does a good job at making black and yellow costumes. This costume also has a lot of significance in the game given the way players unlock it, and if you haven't unlocked this costume yet, I won't give it away because it's a really neat way to reveal it. I find myself using this costume more than the classic suit, and I know the change is so minor since it's just a color swap, but it definitely makes a lot of difference, and it makes me feel like I'm using an entirely different costume compared to the classic. With the amount of time I've spent using this costume compared to the others, I think it's one of the best suits in the game, and it goes to show how much difference a small change can make even if it's the same costume. And finally, number 1, the best suit in Spider-Man Miles Morales, at least for now, the Spiderverse Suit. Was there ever any doubt this costume wouldn't be number 1? This is probably the most demanded costume for the game, along with the hoodie variant, and the detailing on this costume is incredible, especially with the suit mod from the film. This is also my preferred version of the classic black and red Miles suit, as I think the way it's created is much more interesting, and I prefer the logos on this one over the standard design. Once again, Insomniac hits it out of the park with a movie costume, and I think this is the best suit currently in Spider-Man Miles Morales, and hopefully more Spider-Verse suits are added in the future. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think of my rankings and share yours down below. This was of course the first post-launch Miles Morales video, so if you're new here and enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date with content regarding the game that should be releasing very soon. And as always, thanks for watching, be sure to subscribe, follow my social medias, hit that like button, and I will see you guys again in my next video.